This is the ANCEL battery tester. This is designed for 12-volt DC car batteries. It's actually interesting that ANCEL contacted me and asked me if I was interested in collaborating with them to show off their BA101 battery tester, simply because I actually started experiencing battery problems, as you know from my previous videos, with my Jeep SRT. The main problem is the battery in the car was about, let's say, 2 years or 3 years old. And ultimately, the problem was I wasn't driving the car enough, and therefore I wasn't putting enough charge into the car. So what I've tried to do is I try to drive the car at least once a week, despite the fact that I have another car to drive as a daily driver. And some people have suggested, oh yeah, well, you should just get a battery tender and you should plug the car into your house and just leave it on the battery tender, and that'll make sure that the battery stays completely charged. Unfortunately, for where I parked the car, that's not completely feasible. So ANCEL had reached out to me and they showed me their battery tester that you see, the BA101. It's a pretty simple battery tester. As you can see, there's the positive and negative leads, and there is no internal battery, but it comes with a regular USB-A port. And that's basically how simple it is. It does have directional control similar to a diagnostic reader, and it only comes with a USB-A cable. So in order to demonstrate it, there's only two ways basically to turn it on. Either you can plug it into a USB-A source, or you can connect it to a 12-volt battery, at which point it will automatically have enough power to begin testing, which I'm going to demonstrate in a minute. It also comes with this list of instructions, and the instructions tell you pretty much exactly how to use it. Some of it is actually pretty self-explanatory, especially as soon as you plug it in. Without even reading the instructions, I was able to connect it to the battery, and I was able to figure out right away the battery's health. So the instructions are pretty thorough. They take you through the battery quick test. As you can see, the battery quick test has a menu. It asks you, is the battery in the vehicle or is it not? And they show waveforms, allows you to review data. You can even print data if you have a way to print it out using the USB port. And then there's also a system setup. And it tells you what to look for just in case you're seeing a good battery. So if you have a good battery, it's going to say, that it's healthy. It's going to say charge, and it's going to say exactly how much charge you have. It'll also tell you how much voltage is in the battery. And then it tells you, it pretty much tells you whether or not you have a good battery. Then there are the other symbols and signatures, which will show you whether or not you just have to recharge it. So here it says healthy is 78%, charged 30%, internal R equals 7, and then it says rated 500 amps, good recharge. But it'll tell you if you need to recharge it. If it tells you you need to replace it, it'll tell you that at the bottom, replace the battery. If it'll tell you that there's a bad cell, then it'll actually tell you that there's a bad cell, and it'll tell you to replace the battery. If it tells you that you just need to charge it and retest, then it'll tell you to charge and retest at the bottom. So the pertinent information is given to you in a number of ways. So basically, all of the instructions are there. The first thing that it asks you when you plug it in is basically how many amps is this battery designed to put out. It gives you a pretty much list of codes, and all of these ratings basically tell you exactly what you need to know. And if you're experienced working with battery testers and diagnostic computers, and most of this you'll know right away. I was able to figure it out without even looking at the instructions. But it's pretty simple. It's pretty straightforward. It also allows you to do cranking tests if it's plugged into the engine and the battery is plugged in, and then this is connected to the battery. So it allows you to do a variety of tests. It allows you to do a ripple test, charging test, tested vehicle, cranking test, charging tests. And again, if you're experienced using a battery tester, you'll pretty much understand this right away. It's nothing very complicated. So let me take you and show you the car battery in question. Right, so this is the Mopar car battery in question right here. As you can see, it's a typical 12-volt DC battery for a car. So it says 12 volts, 700 CCA, 80 amp hours, and RC is 120 minutes. So what you basically do, locate the negative and the positive. This is the negative on that side. Plug the negative. I think you're supposed to do it positive first, negative second, but for the most part, as long as you don't touch the leads, you're okay. And boom. As soon as you connect it, it turns on. So it asks you, do you want a quick test, battery in vehicle or battery out of vehicle? Enter. Regular flooded AGM, battery type regular, flooded AGM flat plate, spiral GLE. This is an AGM flat plate battery. Enter. Select test. GB, SAE, there's MCA, BCI, CA, and so forth and so on. So we could start with SAE test. 500 amps. Now, if I were to go back, you just push right here for exit, and you can go backwards. So you basically go backwards in a linear fashion. If I want to go to the quick test, enter. So it asks you what is the input, and the input is shown on the battery. It says 80 amp hours. So it says, please input the amp hours value, and then you push enter. 80 amp hours, testing. Okay, so it says this is a good battery. All it needs is a recharge. It says that the battery is healthy at 74%, but it says the charge is 0. It says internal R equals 4.40 milliohms. So here's the thing. I actually had already replaced this battery by going to Walmart and buying a new battery. And my new battery is doing just fine. And because it doesn't say that there's a problem with the battery, I wasn't sure whether or not I should get rid of it or hold on to it, or I should just do a full recharge on it while it's outside of the car. Maybe keep it, I don't know. I'll have to figure out what to do with this battery. But having a good battery tester and a battery charger like the Syntec jump pack that I got, as well as a battery recharger. I'm going to buy the Syntec battery recharger. I'm going to get that from Harbor Freight Tools. Having all three of these is actually a good thing, especially if you're keeping older cars. I have an uncle who hand rebuilds older cars, and he's always testing his batteries. So having one of these is definitely good, so that this way you can quickly test your battery and make sure that there's no issues. So as you can see, the other information is waveform data, print data, and review data. So you can review the data that you already have, whatever you have stored up. So this is actually a very good tool. It's very, very simple. It's not very expensive, and it's worth having, especially if you're keeping older cars.